How does it impact or not impact the work you're gonna do this year on the alleys?
Actually, we'll be done with the alleys once the hot asphalt's completed. And that's usually done in October, November at the latest. So,
Right, so this is overlapping with that.
well, the alley work, we're starting that as soon as the plant's open. Hopefully, we'll be complete with that before we even get to the crack sealing program. If you look online in the cubby, I gave a list when I put the alley recommendations, page 2, that shows you what our plan is for this year.
Where would that be under your copy?
Look under the very first line item of Public Works.
There's a folder just for public works.
There's a folder for Public Works in the cubby under Council Share. Remember, I think you asked me, Joe, for
Yeah,
a list of what we're doing. That was in the cubby when I put in the alley recommendations for repair. Crack zone wasn't part of it, no.
yeah, so I mean, I think the only concern we have, right, certainly saving money is a win, right? I mean, Mr. Phillips would be the first to suggest that. But if I had my choice of you getting everything done what you wanna get done for alleys, and crack sealing, or paying somebody to do crack sealing, I'd rather you focus just on alleys and pay the $12,000 this year for crack sealing. And then once the alleys are in a better shape, then next year do the crack sealing, right? That would be, because the last thing I wanna do is jeopardize the work that you're doing on the alleys. You know, I think what Mr. Crown is saying is, you know, if you taking on certain projects, right, let's hit those projects out of the park. You know?
Actually, you'll give me 8,000 more to put into the alleys if we do the crack zone in-house. Again, funding, we're gonna save $8,000, but that's more money we can put into the alleys itself, into the street repairs.
Oh, yeah, I mean, that's another, just what I think you were starting to mention too, is the, you know, the special meeting, Ingram was asking us, and we agreed, to participate in a program, where we create a crew to help with the brick streets. My takeaway from that is, they have a lot more brick streets than we do, right? They're gonna benefit with this likely more than we are, right? But in the spirit of cooperation, right, that's something they asked us to do, we agreed we wanted to do it. You know, they're participating us with the comprehensive plan, we're gonna participate with them on the brick streets. It's just another project that has to be overseen and be successful. So, you know, I start to get a little concerned with the, you know, the crew, right? Are we able to do the alleys, keep up with the grass, right? Do the crack sealing and the road pave and the brick streets.
The difference you have this year compared to last year is you have structure. You have a group that's gonna be assigned park and park work. You have somebody that's gonna actually report to the park, take care of the pool and the neighborhood parks with a crew. You're gonna have a crew that's gonna be dedicated to do street repairs. So every day of the week, that one crew's gonna be dedicated for street repairs, one crew's gonna be in the parks. You're gonna have one crew that's gonna take care of miscellaneous items. They're gonna do signs, they're gonna do some curb paintings, they're gonna do crosswalks, to do stop bars, to do litter control. So there's a plan in place where actually we have 3 crews that aren't, it's not gonna be helter-skelter of people going here, there, everywhere. You're gonna have people assigned with direct management on what their responsibilities and duties, what they're gonna be doing on a regular daily basis. So I mean, it's council's decision. I believe crack zone is something we can share with Ingram. Ingram will need some streets, they need sealed, we get trained and we can come with them and cross-train those people. We can work together on crack zone. Brick repair, it can be done, and again, that's usually done, and the last time I was here, we did November, December. That's when we did it, in between snow and whatnot, because you can do it in cold weather season.
Well, I mean, my only point on that was, we gotta work that out with Ingram, right? For whatever reason, Ingram typically does this in the summer,
With
right?
their summer help, right?
Yeah, with their summer help. So, you know, I don't know, if they have someone on, if they're willing to do it in the fall, and they have somebody they can staff in the fall, and we're willing to do something in the fall, that's great. If they're, you know, compromised and they wanna do it in the summer, we're gonna see that through.
I'd like to be invited to the next comprehensive plan meeting, too. I mean, somebody overseeing the operation part of the department, it'd be good to have me and Ingram's foreman there too to discuss it. I mean,
'Cause they were
having
doing-
council members sit around making decisions about the workload,
We're policy. You continue through with our policy. We tell you what we want, and you follow through with that. So
Right, but
let's get that straight. Part two is you were talk, you were asked to go to the meeting. I know I talked to John today, he said that he mentioned that you to come to the meeting, he thought you were going to come to the meeting. So we'll set policy, Mr. Kazarowski.
Oh, I
You can
understand
follow up with our policy.
But I mean, the operational end, it'd be good to be part of the policy-making decision, to be there and be part of that, you know, like crack sealing. Crack sealing is an opportunity, maybe anyone would rather do crack sealing than brick repair. I'm just throwing it out there.
Yeah, and just on the last point on the brick, Ingram's willing to hire someone, right, as a foreman for this, where, you know, they hire a person at the direction of yourself, at the direction of, you know, their public works person, commit funds to it, we just have to supply the labor, right? So, again, this all just becomes in managing projects, right? It's a lot to say, you can do all the alleys that you suggested you're gonna do the crack sealing, keep up with the pool, keep up with the parks, right? The grass cutting is yearly, right, a disaster. And the street sweeping, right, is also something you're gonna aggressively go after. Make sure streets that never got swept before in the past are gonna get swept this year, right, based on the plan that you put in place. You know, it's a lot, right? It's a lot to take on. And I would just assume, you know, if I'm just throwing out a number, you know, if you had 10 projects, right, I'd rather see 7 projects be perfect and not do the other 3 than have 10 projects and have them all be kind of half done, you know, 3/4 of the way done. Because then it becomes, that perception is, you know, it reflects negatively on yourself, and it reflects negatively on us, right? So I just worry, you know, if you can do it all. Now, if you're sitting here saying, absolutely, no problem, 100% I can do all these projects, you know, I think we gotta give you that rope, right?
I mean, we've put our trust in putting him into this position to do all these things, to save us money, to things that we can do in-house. What is the talent of our crew? What can they do? What should they do? Because they haven't done it up until this point doesn't mean that they can't. And if he's able to develop them and/or find their strengths and put all these projects together, I mean, clearly he doesn't want to fail either.
It's
But-
really not a process. And I've been here since last August as a consultant, and then I was a public works director. And I think I have a pretty good feel of what these guys can do and can't do. I know how much money they've probably saved the borough in the past 6 months too. I mean, they went out and did some things that nobody's aware of. And maybe I should do a report to show you that, because there's some comments and statements made about these guys that aren't accurate. I mean, these guys probably in the last 2 weeks probably saved the borough a ton of money just doing some facility maintenance work. And they go over and above the call, and there's some people that, you know, need a push and a shove, but I don't know how often they get managed, but I believe that taking over the crack sealing program and the street repairs are possible, very much possible.
All right, so let me ask you this question, right? Do you think, if we agreed to this, right, where you do the crack sealing, do you think your plate's full?
Yeah. That's
Okay.
pretty good.
Yeah, right, so with all the regular stuff, right, with the, you know, we're gonna do the Ingram roads, right? We're gonna work with them, we'll come up with a crew there. We're gonna do the crack seal, we're gonna do
And it
the
crowds
pool,
a week.
right?
So remember,
Yeah, I understand, but it is a week that's gonna overlap with, you know, potentially both of those projects, right? But both meaning the brick stuff and the alleys, right? So, you know, if you're saying to us, hey, I think I can do this, I'll agree to that, right? But I also want to kind of hear you say, and I think my plate's full, because we basically have the same crew that we've had for 3 years, right? We have it under a different direction now, which I'm excited about, but it's still the same crew. So it'll be shocking to me, right, if we can do a factor greater than what we've done in the past. I start to get unnerved, right? Because it's just like, well, it's the same people, it's the same time frame, same number of hours,
They have a
right?
different
Same
leader.
season.
They have a different leader.
And that helps. But we've also taken on a lot more. We would never have done any alleys.
And shame on us.
But what I mean is, we agreed to that, right? That's a huge undertaking, right? So I actually think the successfulness of that is because of Rob and that leadership. Now we're piling on crack sealing. We're piling on what we policy-wise said we wanted to do with the bricks. That's piled on, right? There has to be a point where we collectively say, that's enough to put on Rob's plate.
I wouldn't ask you to do it, I think we could. I wouldn't take it upon myself. If for a week, crack zone, I think it's an opportunity to save some money and put it back in the streets, because again, as I stated in the previous meeting, they need a lot of work. And the alleys, again, those are patch and repairs, they're not paving going over. We're trying to, our goal is to make them passable. So you can
Yeah.
ride up there without hitting your oil pan or bottom
Yeah.
knot. We're doing patching and repairing those alleys with some base work. So it's not like we're doing full reclamation, reconstruction. We don't have the ability and the money to do that. We're just patching and making those alleys passable.
How, how flexible will the schedule be if, considering that it's weather dependent? Let's say you have a chunk of time set aside for that, and the weather is bad during that time period. And then you go to maybe rent a machine or whatever you would need. Do you see any conflict with, or any problems, if you have a bad week or two?
Weather's always a variable. I mean, that's always an unknown variable. What you do is you want to schedule looking at the forecast. You have to depend on that at that time of the year. And that's a very, there's gonna be a day or two you build in for lead times for rain. Same
how-
token, those
how-
guys that aren't doing the crack zone will go do other tasks throughout the borough.
Are we gonna be as flexible in-house as a company that would be paid to do the service?
Flexible.
Well, it's if,
With the weather, you mean?
with the manpower and with the equipment, because if we have to rent the equipment, correct?
Right.
So we're basically gonna have to set up, a period of time where we would rent up, because I'm sure they don't have an unlimited amount of equipment.
No, it would be pre-scheduled, but it'd be based on forecast.
Yeah, and then, so what if the forecast changes and we don't get an opportunity to do it, because then we're tied into something else? Let's say we're tied into, the alleys, or we're tied into repairing public streets. Wouldn't a company that is paid to do this have more flexibility because they have their own equipment and their own employees, and that's their business?
I can't answer that. I mean, if the equipment itself, if it's rent, I probably can do daily rentals.
Mm-hmm.
Probably have the same option to do a daily rental. It's a tag-along machine. I haven't explored that. My plan is to use it a week. Can I break that week up into 2 days this week, 2 days next week, 5 days? I haven't talked to the vendor about that. I did talk to him about the rental for a week of cost. And he was very informative, he's very flexible. There's probably could be something if I ask him about rain days, we could be building. I didn't ask him about that.
Jim?
Perhaps a couple of days this week, and then if it rains, a couple of days the following week. I'm sure they would work with.
I'll have to talk to him about that.
I'm just saying about the availability of the equipment, the availability of your time. How flexible, if we're gonna be piling a lot on the, our public works, how flexible is that time? If we have a bad 2 weeks of weather, are we flexible enough to do it 2 weeks later? We're a company that is paid to do that. They basically, you sign a contract with them, and they have to do it within a certain amount of time. They have to get that work done. And that's why I'm just trying to get a feel from you on how flexible, like if you're gonna keep, adding things, and, I understand that you wanna get things done, and I appreciate that, but how flexible is the Public Works Department when it comes to things we can't control, like the weather, or something else that happens?
Our schedule is very flexible. I mean, I could change it every morning when I come in. I can come in and change a work detail just 7 o'clock in the morning. Pre-planned and scheduled for Tuesday, I come in Tuesday morning, I can change it just like that. So the workload's flexible. I just have to check on the equipment. The vendor I talked to is in Neville Island, so he's up in a place in Neville Island. So
I think we're having a good discussion here, but I think that the discussion is
Let's let Jim,
almost, I'm sorry, go ahead.
let's Jim talk, and then we'll close up on it.
Okay, the Felino construction bid for 12,345 was for, would you say 0.3 of a mile?
yeah, about 0.3 of a mile.
So that would be the equivalent of approximately from here to the top of Bradford. Whereas for $8,000 less, you'll be able to accomplish the same mission, the 3/10 of a mile, plus an additional 7/10 of a mile for $8,000 less. The thing about it, if you just think about it, okay, they're gonna crack seal from here to the, from here to the top of Bradford Avenue, 3/10 of a mile, for $12,000. And you're gonna, that he's gonna do the whole mile for $8,000, and you're worried whether or not it's too much on his plate
8,000 less.
for 8,000 less, I'm sorry, I meant 8,000 less. Okay, if he gets only 3/10 of a mile done in October for, $2,000, you're still saving.
There's no doubt that there's money savings here, right? I don't think anyone's debating that.
3/10 of a mile versus a mile, and if he only, let's say, let him do this, and for whatever reason, we have a blizzard in October, but he gets 3/10 of a mile done, you still save a boatload of money.
Yeah, I mean,
That's just what I was just thinking.
there's no doubt that there's money savings here, right? But we all, collectively, right, there has to be a point where enough is enough, right? That our staff can only do what our staff can do in X number of days, right? X number of hours. And I think one of the things Dave is talking about with flexibility, what's the delta, right, that we give to ourselves, like, stuff's just gonna happen. Trees are gonna get knocked down, right? You're gonna have to go cut up those trees and do other things. Like I would think that if you're planning out this workforce, right? They have an 8-hour day. I would think it's fair to say, I should probably plan for them to have a 4-hour day, right? Because I don't know what the other 4 hours is gonna happen. What's July gonna be like? What's August gonna be like? What's September gonna be like, right? There's gotta be like some planning algorithm that you use, right? So I'm willing to do this, right? But I want the group to say collectively, right? Every time Rob comes in and says, I can do one more thing, we'd be foolish to think that eventually that staff isn't at capacity, right? And it's not clear to us what level of capacity they're at right now, right? It is only a week, right? And it is a 3/10 of a mile. He's saying he could do a full mile. So if he doesn't hit the full mile, right, we're still ahead. We're still ahead of the game, right? But if next week or next month there's another thing, I want Rob to be successful. If he comes in and asks us to do 100 projects and we say 100 times yes, and he doesn't do them, it's going to look bad. It's going to look bad on Rob. It's going to look bad on us.
But as our
right.
director, I mean, if he's not gonna come to the table if he doesn't think he can be successful, because then we all look ridiculous.
Right.
So if he's saying he can do it and he can save us money, then, I mean, I
I
don't
would
know
just
what
be
it
more,
takes
yeah, I
to
would be
do-
more comfortable if he was saying that and said, and my plate's full, right? Because
Yeah, but
at some
stuff's gonna
point,
fall off at some point too. Projects that he's working on are gonna fall off, so then new time will become available. I mean, I don't know.
I don't think I threw that much at her. I think that the project I told you that we'd like to tackle in Haas, the renovation, doing some remodeling in the bathhouse, the alleys, that's basic maintenance that needs to be done regardless if I'm here or anybody else is here. I know it seems like they've been ignored over a number of years, but it's gonna be attacked, it's gonna be addressed. And pool and park maintenance, we're not taking over anything.
well, yeah, but I mean, historically, right?
The sweeper, the only thing we do with the sweeping program is create routes.
My 3 years on council, no one has ever said we've done a good job cutting grass. Ever, right? For 3 years. It's always a disaster every summer. So, geez, just having that done this year without having gotten complaints, that would be great. But,
Right, I think exactly what you're saying. You're saying that you can do all this, which is great. I want you to do all those, and I want us to save money. But at the end of the day, historically, you said the bathhouse, that's been neglected. The other things in the borough's been neglected. Why? It's just not the management. Do we have the employees? We have to look. You've been here since August. If you feel that everything can be done and you're gonna take all that on your plate and you're gonna be successful, let's do away with the program. But then you're gonna be held accountable, which I'm not comfortable doing because you haven't been here that long. But if you're going to take that on, I'm okay with it.
I feel comfortable with the staff we have right now, and again, I'm just performing maintenance. Most of it's maintenance and duties, responsibilities.
Why hasn't it been done in the past?
I've been there since August, and I'll
Well,
tell you
I'm not
what.
asking you, but if we don't have time years, 5 years, 10 years ago, leading up today, but it's all gonna miraculously get done, I'm okay with that. Because I'm a little nervous that it's not all gonna get done, but let's go for it.
Yeah, so let's,
Isabel, you're gonna see
And he's
improvements.
not brand new.
You're gonna
to
see
this
improvements,
world.
guys.
He
I mean,
came
it's not gonna
here,
be.
but he's not brand new to this world and what
we're,
he's.
we're
what
deciding whether or not to award it to them or do it in-house, right? So let's just collectively agree, right? Rob, we'll do this, right? We'll decline Felino to do it, you do the crack ceiling. But if there's gonna be more projects, right, that you come up with and say, hey, I think we can do this in-house, I'm not gonna support them unless they come accompanied with kind of like a Gantt chart, if you will, around, here's my crew that's dedicated to the park. Here's my crew that's gonna be dedicated to the bathhouse, and here's how long it's gonna take. Here's my crew that's dedicated to the road resurfacing, or the alleys resurfacing, and here's how long it's gonna take. And I see all those lined up, and if at the end there's a delta of time, I'd be more than happy to give you that time, be like, go ahead, go do the next project. But it just feels like we keep adding to your plate, and, I mean, there's a worry here, that you're just not gonna get it all done. It would be great if just the things we've historically said we would do, we did better at. That would be a win, but we're doing even more. So, that's fine, look, we can do this, but can we agree, right, that if there's additional projects, we agree to do we have the bandwidth? And by bandwidth, it's just not Rob saying, yeah, we can, right? It has to be more scientific, if you will, some more discipline associated with it in terms of hours. Fred, does that make sense?
Yes.
All right.
Who made the motion? I seconded, you made the motion. You're gonna withdraw your, I'll withdraw my second.
We can just turn it
Vote
down.
no.
We can just vote
Well,
no.
we can withdraw it. We can draw,
All
I'll
right.
withdraw.
Okay. All right, motion's withdrawn. Did you get all that? Yeah. All right, so let's go forward then. That was Clearview. Very nice, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to award the Clearview Avenue Phase 4 project to A. Felino in the amount of $269,646.20 per Gateway Engineer's recommendation and pending solicitor's review of low bidder T.A. Robinson's withdrawal request.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded by Mr. Amendola. Any discussion on this motion? Hearing no discussion, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Oh, yeah, we had a executive session prior to the meeting, no action was taken. To discuss personnel matters, no action was taken in the meeting. Citizens' comments, anyone that came in would like to speak, please come up to the microphone, name and address.
Coletta Perry, 10 Baldwin Road. I'm just wanting to confirm the starting time of council meeting.
7:15.
Okay, thank you, because I came in at 7:16 and we were already in numbers report. So did we start early tonight?
No?
No, wow, you guys were fast.
Yeah, we
Sorry.
were quick.
Okay, bye.
Any other comments? All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.